Well, about a dozen passengers on the Titanic were headed for British Columbia 100 years ago. Of course, not all of them survived. Today, Bob Nixon tracked down who they were.
When they boarded the Titanic 100 years ago this week, none of the passengers could know they would soon be part of the most famous maritime disaster in history.
It's been called the most famous ship since Noah's Ark.
Historian Robert Gallagher is part of a new Titanic display at the Vancouver Maritime Museum, which features local newspapers from the first hopeful word of the disaster to the grim reality.
The importance of the Titanic is that it's part of a history of the liners, and the ocean liners are what helped populate North America, for example, and to tens of millions.
One Titanic victim was headed right here, the Winch Building on Hastings Street. Robert Norman was an electrical engineer from Glasgow. The address of his contact was discovered on his body. Hastings Street figures in the fame of a Titanic victim who just stayed briefly in Vancouver and Victoria. William Harbeck was an early movie maker who traveled the world filming cities from the front of streetcars. The 44-year-old died on the Titanic along with a 24-year-old French traveling companion who was not his wife. Canada Post recognizes the Titanic appeal, offering up 2 stamp sets. The main Vancouver post office has a display about the BC connection.
There were 11 passengers on the Titanic destined for Vancouver. And there's a 12th passenger who destined for Portland, but she ended up marrying a doctor from Vancouver.
Hilda Slater was the only Titanic passenger to reach her BC destination. 30 years old, her dreams of fame as a professional singer gone, she survived the sinking and 6 weeks later married a well-heeled farmer from Denman Island named Harry Lacon. Lacon Road still runs along the island. Charles Hayes ran the Grand Trunk Railroad and died on the Titanic. He's considered the founder of Prince Rupert, which erected a statue of him in front of City Hall. Such is the stuff of the Titanic, a ship of shattered dreams and all too human drama. 100 years of fascination. Bob Nixon, CBC News, Vancouver.